I need a motion to return to regular session from executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we return from executive session to regular session.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any comments or questions by council? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have returned. Welcome, everyone. I see a lot of new faces from when we started at 3:30. The Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation were taken at that time. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Next, we have public comments. Do we have any public comments signed up? Public presentation. We have introduction of parks, recreation, and tourism interns. I'm going to make a mistake here. Forgive me in advance. Jadarius?
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Nance and Michael Becky. Beck. Okay, please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening and welcome.
I'm Logan. I'm the Recreation Center Manager. We're lucky to have hired 2 summer interns this year. I'll let them introduce themselves. Jadarius is going to make it simple for you because he goes by Trey. So, Trey, you can come on up.
I'm bad enough with names. Now you're going to give me 2? Welcome.
Hopefully everyone doing well today. As he said, my name is Jadarius Nance, and people call me Trey. Yes, I go by Trey. Trayvon is actually my middle name, so that's where I get that from. But so just something about myself. I actually go to school at Jacksonville State in Alabama, not Florida. A lot of people assume that I go to school in Florida, but actually in Alabama. I'm a senior. I study sports management with a minor in communication. I'm also scheduled to graduate on August 4th. So this is the last step to our walk. Happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Welcome. I wish you a very educational and fun summer with the city of Hardeeville. Council?
Welcome. Good to have you.
You can learn a lot from these folks here. Lady over there.
And I'll let Mike introduce himself as well. Mike Beck.
Hello, my name is Mike Beck. I am 23 years old. I go to Georgia Southern University and I'm majoring in marketing. I am about to enter my final year of college. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio, but I moved to Savannah when I was 17. So I've been there for a while and I've passed through here quite a bit. So I'm excited to become part of the team.
Great, thank you and welcome. And as well to you, I hope you have a very enjoyable summer with us.
Great school, my alma mater. And Jen's fixing to, I think, send a few bucks that way.
Yes, sir.
No
Council?
baby yet.
Not yet. Any day.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Logan.
Next, we have the appointment of one member to the Hardeeville Public Facilities Corporation. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. So the city has a Hardeeville Public Facilities Corporation. Basically, it's a means to finance public improvements. And just for the council's recollection, the city has financed several projects using this means. We've had a vacancy on the board for several years. Former council member, Mr. Scott Reddy, served on the board, and then even after his time lapsed with the council, but he moved out of the city limits a few years ago, and we've been desperately searching for a replacement. So we had an interested citizen, and I think we all know Mr. Don Castle, expressed some interest, and we're recommending that we appoint him to the Hardeeville Public Facilities Corporation.
And this requires a vote, Mr. Zimbor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that case, I'll open it up to comments from the council and start with Mr. Carroll.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. White,
No comments.
Mrs. Guzman,
No comments, sir.
Mr. Mearsman,
No comment.
And neither do I. So in that case, I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove the appointment of Mr. Don Castle to the Hardeeville Public Facilities Corporation.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint Mr. Castle to the Hardeeville Public Facilities Corporation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions by council?
I have a question. How long is the appointment in time? Is it a year appointment, a 2-year, or?
Until he's removed. I don't think there's any terms.
Okay, not a term, that's, okay. Thank you.
And how is he removed?
By the count, well, he could be removed by the council if he obviously doesn't attend or moves outside the city limits or a number of things. And that's in the bylaws, excuse me, for the corporation. At will.
Okay. Any other questions before I call the vote? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have the presentation and approval of minutes from May 4th, 2023, regular city council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the minutes of May 4?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the May 4th, 2023 regular city council meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions by council? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved, and we move on to old business. The old business, this is a second reading of an ordinance to adopt the master plan of 19.9 acres, generally known as the Hardeeville YMCA parcel. And this is ordinance 2023-5-4A. Mr. Zimbor, please.
The council approved the ordinance at first reading. We're recommending adoption at second reading. The applicant is here. If the council has any questions.
May I ask, before I turn it over to council questioning, may I ask Mr. Bostwick, I think there was a recent press release. Would you please come forward and explain that to the council?
Michael Bostwick, YMCA CEO. Thanks for having me. We had a press release go out today by the Clyburn office, and that is in reference to a $1.5 million gift towards this project.
Okay. And wasn't there something about the USDA loan in there as well?
The gift goes through USDA, but our loan for the project is through them, yes.
Okay.
So whatever we don't raise will be done through the USDA loan.
USDA loan. And is that 1.5 million subject to the congressional budget? Or
It's already been approved, yes.
Okay.
For this year, so we should receive it by the end of this year.
Get it by the end of this month if you can.
Well, I don't know about that, but we would like that.
Okay. I'm going to open up the questioning to my right with Mr. Mearsman.
I have no questions at this time, Your Honor.
Mrs. Guzman?
No further questions, sir.
Mr. White?
No additional questions.
Just
had to excuse himself from.
John, Mr. Carroll had to excuse himself, and so I have no further questions. We discussed this at length at the first reading. I personally I can't wait to cut the ribbon on this thing. I think it's will be a great benefit to our community. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions regarding the approval of the master plan for the Hardeeville YMCA? Okay, seeing none, I would like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to, this is the second reading and final reading of ordinance 2023-5-4A.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve ordinance 2023-5-18A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's
4A, right?
Okay, I have 5A.
Um,
18, 5.
all right, we have a motion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I flipped the page.
Yeah.
All right, I correct myself. I will correct myself.
So the correct or motion, restate the
I
motion.
make a motion that we approve ordinance 2023-5-4A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I will take a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Get to work, Mike. We're going to open next week.
We'll hire the contractor.
A little longer than that. Okay.
Swimming pool ready?
Good luck. Good luck. We're really excited. It's a wonderful addition to the city of Hardeeville. Next is the second reading of an ordinance authorizing the execution and sale of real estate owned by the city of Hardeeville. This is ordinance 2023-5-4B. This is a second and final reading. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. The council adopted first reading last meeting. We're recommending adoption, which would sell the remaining parcels in the Hardeeville Commerce Park with approximately proceeds of $285,000 going to the city's land acquisition. So that will close the sale of 165 plus or minus acres in our Commerce Park. So we're looking forward to the active development, which should be well over 1 million square feet of industrial and flex space. So we're recommending adoption, sale of lots 14 and lots 8 and 9.
Okay. Let's start the questioning with Mr. White.
I do not have any additional questions.
Mrs. Guzman.
No additional questions, sir.
Mr. Mearsman.
No additional questions.
We may set a record tonight. I have no additional questions either. We talked about this at the last meeting, and I'm excited that we sold everything out. So I'll now open it up to the public. Anyone from the public like to make a comment or ask a question regarding the sale of this property in the Hardeeville Commerce Park? Seeing none, I'll like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is ordinance 2023-5-4B.
I move that we have approval of the ordinance 2023-5-4B for the sale of property that we've discussed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, call for a voice vote on this as well. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we go on to new business. And the first is a resolution. The resolution has one public hearing and one vote, which will be this evening. It's a resolution of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina City Council to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Beaufort County regarding the issuance of building permits on property located in the City of Hardeeville in Beaufort County, subject to Beaufort County development impact fees, and authorizing the city manager to execute the intergovernmental agreement on behalf of the city. This is Resolution 2023-5-18A. Mr. Zimbor, please.
Yes, sir. Ms. Maines is going to handle this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and members of the public. So Beaufort County is in the process of updating their impact fees that they charge upon property that's developed in the county. Some of that property does lie within the city of Hardeeville, so those properties are also subject to the county's impact fees. The city previously had an agreement with them that the city would collect those fees and then turn them over to Beaufort County on a just an annual basis. I think they wanted it more, but there weren't enough to do it every month or every few months. So annually that's turned over. What this new agreement does is it revokes that previous agreement where the city was collecting those monies. What this agreement would do is that any of those monies would need to be collected by the county. And then that applicant would have to provide proof to the city that they paid those impact fees before the city issues a final permit on that property. So the city's agreeing to withhold permitting unless they have proof of payment of the impact fee. This agreement also incorporates the new ordinance that Beaufort County is in the process of finalizing, which would have their updated impact fees. So as soon as we receive that copy, that will be made an attachment to this intergovernmental agreement.
Thank you. Let's start with Mr. White. Do you have any comments or questions regarding this intergovernmental agreement?
The only comment I have is those on staff that have reviewed this has a lot of moving parts. Are you confident that the infrastructure to manage this and stay on top of it is there? I assume it is, but I'd like to hear your comment on that because of the various moving parts on this. This is a fairly complicated thing to stay on top of it, from my opinion.
Yes, sir. So just for the council, we're the last community to adopt because we were waiting for some updated ordinances and some other information. So that's most of the agreements are pretty similar with all the other municipalities in Beaufort County. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have a very small portion of our community in Beaufort County. So there's only a very limited amount of property generally in the 278 Oakwood Crossing area that would be subject to this ordinance unless the city would annex additional property in Beaufort County. So for our purposes, it's a very small number of properties. So, and they'd be commercial properties, so it's very easy to manage.
And the fact we're the last, there's a lot of precedent that's happened before us in terms of policies and how to get it done, basically.
Absolutely, and we've had an agreement similar for 4 years, 5 years, so we've got experience, and it's been not an administrative burden.
Thank you.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions at this time because Bo asked the question I was going to ask and I heard the response, so we're good.
Mr. Mearsman.
I'm confident that staff has this all worked out. Oh, no questions.
This was touched on a little bit, but I just want to clarify. This is an agreement, this IGA, is this the same and has every other municipality in Beaufort County agreed to this?
Mayor, the terms are the same. The only thing that was different is that we took that extra step of making sure that our previous agreement doesn't apply anymore, that this is the new agreement.
So this voids the previous agreement. Otherwise, it's exactly the same that all the other municipalities agreed to.
Right, in concept. So all the other municipalities have agreed that the fees will be paid directly to the county, and then they won't issue permits until they receive that proof of payment, the receipt that the county issues.
And ours is the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because when this has come up in the past, since we are such a tiny part of Beaufort County, we want to make sure that we're the last ones to approve, not the first. We should be following the municipalities that are more greatly affected by this. And that's all I wanted to just assure. Okay, at this time, I'll open it up to the public. Does anyone in the public have any comments or questions regarding this intergovernmental agreement with Beaufort County? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion. Do we have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes? This is Resolution 2023-5-18A.
Make a motion, Mayor, that the resolution that was outlined with the terms and conditions 2023-5-18A be approved.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passes 5-0. Next, We have the receipt of eight tax committee recommendations to appropriate state accommodation tax receipts to the Jasper County Chamber of Commerce pursuant to Section 64-10 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. There are 4 items totaling $80,000: the Visitor Center operation, billboard campaign, digital marketing, and radio campaign. And I see Mr. Boyles. Are you going to take this one?
If you'd like, I'd be happy to.
I'm just like anything. It's up to your boss. Does he like you?
He gave
to?
me this while you were
He
talking.
gave you this? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we had an ATAX committee recently, and the Chamber of Commerce came and asked for these 4 items to be funded. They're all very familiar to the ATAX committee as well as the council. It's just the next year of funding for her operations, the digital marketing, and the billboards. And we're asking that the council approve it. If there are any questions, I have heard that Kendall's not able to be here tonight, but I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to start the questioning from my right this time and go to Mr. Mearsman.
I had an email from a resident. He was questioning the amount of money for the billboard campaign, and what he proposed to be done was very insightful, but it wasn't part of what the ATAX money can be used for. So I really think that the billboard campaign, visitor center operation, the digital marketing, and the radio campaign are essential for the growth of Jasper County and Hardeeville. So I think it's great.
Thank you. Mrs. Guzman.
I have no questions, so.
Mr. White.
John, my assumption is this is for the calendar year of 2024, correct? The whole year?
Oh, it's going to be fiscal year.
Fiscal, I'm sorry, I meant to say that, yes, this year.
Yes, sir.
But yes,
Good.
12 months.
12 months is what I
It's a
meant.
12-month period beginning in July. She'll get this check in early July.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Carroll.
No questions. Kendall always pretty well spends the money wisely, so.
Again, as full disclosure, I did speak to Kendall earlier today. She notified me that she could not make this evening. We did talk about the billboard campaign, and she reminded me that one of the things for the $16,000, we frequently get additional free billboards when they're not filled. So if we have, I don't know, I'm going to say this improperly, but just as an example, if we buy 3, we often will get 6 because, is that correct, Mr.?
Yes,
Well,
the billboard company has, for lack of a better way of saying it, taken care of Hardeeville when they've had some empty space.
and some residents often question the effectiveness of billboard advertising, and including me in past years. But certainly, as we have expanded our recreation facilities, and most particularly from what I've heard, the dog park, but we have a beautiful playground, obviously we have a beautiful rec center, that those billboards are actually drawing people off the interstate, and they're stopping in our facilities to take a little rest of what otherwise is a long trip. So I'm hearing positive results from various sources about the effectiveness of billboards. I can't quantify it. I don't think anybody really can, but certainly we're getting feedback from those people who are stopping. So
And the license plates you see out here, Mr. Mayor, are from all over.
they're from all. So there's an obvious benefit to the billboard campaign, and I just wanted to point that out because I think it's important that the public knows, because the public goes out and they see those billboards and they question it. The answer is they are effective, and we get a lot of billboards for that $16,000, and it must be, by state law, it must be used to promote tourism, and that's obviously what it's doing. Okay. Would anyone from the public like to share their thoughts on this ATAX spending? Okay, seeing none, I would like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is to approve the ATAX committee recommendations to appropriate ATAX funds of $80,459. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We have a second. Any comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got another recommendation from the ATAX committee to partially fund the festival on Main, and speaking of the dog park, an appropriation for the dog park, because obviously all those visitors creates other needs, right?
Correct.
So, Mr. Boyes, you want to explain that?
Well, the Festival in Maine, of course, that's the city's largest event. It's an all hands on deck kind of thing. I'm sure y'all are familiar with it. This provides a substantial portion of the funding that we need to have this event continue to grow and continue to be successful. So that's the first piece. The second piece is the dog park. As that continues to grow, what this is funding is various different equipment. The way Logan described it to me this morning is it's agility equipment. So some pretty cool stuff for the dogs and the people who are, like you said, Mayor, are taking these long trips and get out and get a chance to do something that maybe even the dogs don't get to experience. So we're asking that council approve the total of $60,750 for that. And of course, Jen and Logan are both here should you have any questions.
Thank you. Let's start from my left this time. Mr. Carroll, any comments or questions?
No, sir. I think we all know what Jen does in her department for the Festival on Main. That is the big thing, and they do a fantastic job. And the dog park, I'm like, I forgot who was saying it a while ago, but the different license plates, and I go there sometime with mine and talk to people from all over that are there for, like I say, a little respite break or whatever. So I don't have any problems, no questions.
Mr. White,
No questions.
Mrs. Guzman,
No questions, sir.
Mr. Mearsman.
I have to say, about 2 weeks ago, I had my 5-year-old grandson with me, and we came through the park, and first thing he said, "Oh, this is where you had the big party last year."
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I showed him the dog park and tried to explain to a 5-year-old the concept of a dog park. He says, "Well, are there swings there? How do the dogs get to the park?" So, but the thought is, we have an exceptional complex back here, and I think this is a great expenditure of the ATAX money. The Festival on Main is a true showcase. That's all.
I have nothing to add to all that, so I'm going to keep quiet for a change.
Mayor, I had one question on the festival on Main. Is there a date for that we have now?
I got it on my calendar already.
I have a notion when it is, but
I think it's October 13th or 14th.
Yes, it is. It's October 13th and 14th.
good.
Yes, Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Are these guys going to be playing?
Yes, ma'am. I believe they're playing Friday night, I believe. And then we
Awesome.
have a journey band playing
Okay.
on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. So we need a vote to approve these expenditures. So I'd like a motion to approve these ATAX recommendations totaling $60,750.
I make a motion to approve the ATAX recommendations of $60,750.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have consideration of a request to change the time of the June 1st, 2023 regular city council meeting from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. to allow members of council to attend the Royal Live Oaks Academy commencement exercises. Mr. Zimbor, any comments on that?
No, sir, we're
Pretty
recommending.
self-explanatory.
That, yes, sir, it is.
Okay. So, Mr. Mearsman, any thoughts on that?
No, I think needs to be done.
Mrs. Guzman?
No, sir, it needs to be done.
Mr. White?
I think that's a good, excellent idea.
Mr. Carroll?
I think it's synergism. I think.
Oh.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Oh.
Cop it. Cop
Maybe
that,
with the
Mr.
new
Mayor.
dog parking equipment. we can.
Right.
Okay, well, that was certainly an entertaining discussion. I could not possibly add to that, but I will be speaking at that commencement exercises, and so I know everybody's going to want to go. So get your tickets early.
Right. Front row, man.
Anyone from the public who would like to know about the graduation? Okay, so I would like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the change from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. on June 1st.
Mayor, I make a motion that, due to the graduation at Royal Live Oaks, that we change our regular meeting time of 5 p.m. and move it to earlier at 3 p.m.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by the public or by council? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Also, please note that the night before, I don't know if you received the invitation, there will be the graduation of Hardeeville High School. And this will be the first graduation at Hardeeville High School. Is just Hardeeville High School. It's not Ridgeland Hardeeville. So if you did not get that from Dr. Anderson, please let me know and I'll make sure that invitation gets sent to you. Okay, Mr. Zimbor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. 4 quick things. I just wanted to acknowledge both the police chief and fire chief and their staff for the wonderful events they had on Monday, police officers memorial or recognition, and the fire department awards. You guys did a wonderful job. Well deserved, well turned out. So kudos to you guys. Just the public, we have a workshop next Thursday, May 25th at 2 o'clock at USCB. That's going to be a talk about regional transportation issues. Public is invited. June 1st will be first reading on the fiscal year 24 budget. The council will get the revised budget based upon all the workshops and the directions that you gave here in the next week. And first reading will be on June 1st. And then just wishing everybody a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zimbor. Okay, let's go reverse alphabetical order and start with Mr. White.
I would like to thank the police chief, Sam, for the over the last couple of weeks. The mayor and I had a chance to meet with the officers in the police department for not a complaint session or any of those things, but just a time together strategically to get advice from them on things they would like to see us focus on. And I'll tell you, for me, it was one of the most valuable sessions I've had since I've had the privilege of serving on the council in terms of some very helpful feedback. And our plan, Steve, is to do this with the fire department and then the other employee base, only from the purpose of getting feedback and things that they would like to have us focus on. So I want to say thank you. And Steve, we look forward to working with you. And Mike, if we could get your help on setting those up with the, and Laurie, thanks for all your work, and Robin on the food and everything was terrific. So that was my highlight, and that's what I'd like to report on.
Okay, alphabet, Mr. Mearsman.
First, to start off, I'd like to thank police chief, fire chief for including me in your this week is the memorial and the pinning. I was very proud to participate in both of those. I'd like to thank our Public Works Director, Mr. Brown, and his staff. If you've noticed what the work that they did on 278, which should be a state responsibility, but they've picked it up, they've mowed it. It really makes it look great. And I saw your crew down working on 17 after that. So these are all things that aren't our responsibility, but the staff is taking care of it. I'd like to thank Ms. Combs and the staff for the fishing derby. That was a great fun event. I had a ball. I'm really looking forward to doing that next year. I came to the Welcome Center when you did the tourism event there. Hardeeville was very well represented. I'm very proud of that also. I did attend the Hardeeville Senior Spring Fling and the Beaufort Jasper Volunteers in Medicine Dinner. Hardeeville was well represented at both of those events. To me, it's very important that we put ourselves out within the community as we grow. I just think it's a great thing. I've said it before, I'm Hardeeville proud and Hardeeville strong, and I really mean that. As we grow, we will be both of those. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Guzman.
Jumping off of what Steve said again, thank you to Chief Woodward and to Chief Camp for inviting us to the events for your departments, for the memorial, police memorial and the promotion event for the fire department. It was just fantastic, and I was just grateful to be there just to partake in that. Also, the volunteers in Madison, I think it was a great showing by the mayor and city council to show these guys the support from our city. So it's a really worthy cause, and it was great that we were all there to show our support to them. So, and happy Memorial Day to everybody. Stay safe out there.
Mr. Carroll.
I too want to thank Mr. Brown too, because I was on 278. I'll tell you, it's amazing how much trash. I can't believe it sometimes how much trash people throw out on that road. It's unbelievable. Bags and bags of trash. But anyway, that's not our responsibility, but I guess it is. I mean, but anyway, it is appreciated by the citizens too, and we thank you for that. And I too went to the fishing rodeo. And I guess Illinois is Derby, but down here it's rodeo.
I haven't learned the language yet.
Anyway, it was fantastic. And nature even worked with us. And I was telling Sam, because he and I both like to fish. And when that sun comes up, those catfish stop, buddy. And the sun didn't come up to about 10:45. So the catfish, they bit and they bit and they bit, and there were buckets and buckets of catfish, and even after a while the new ones quit biting, and the old ones from last year that were bigger were biting. So and everybody had a good time, and it was just good. Jen, like I said, Jen always does a good job, and so many people talk about that. So we thank you for that, and there will be an LCOG meeting next week. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I have nothing left to say because everybody told you what I did. Yeah, I'm sure I'm disappointing everybody, but I was at JCNU. I was at the VIM dinner. I was at the pinning, and congratulations to all those who received their pins this past week. One of the things that impressed me going to that pinning, because it puts everything real, is to see the spouses and the children of the people who work for us, and particularly, in our first responders who have a dangerous job. It's good to see the support of their families doing a job that can be quite dangerous. So that really impressed me. two things that weren't mentioned. First of all, we were invited to go up to the building where the Board of Disabilities operates. And we give them, do we have an MOU on that, Mike?
We did.
We did.
Yes, sir.
Did we appropriate anything? I don't recall.
In the past, yes, sir.
We had it in the past, but I forget now that it goes through
They didn't.
the transformation.
They didn't make it this past, make the actual request this past year, because I asked about it.
I think it's very important, and I felt terrible today as I walked in there that after 7 years as mayor, I have not been there before. First of all, if you walk in there and it doesn't break your heart, then you really, you better go lay down on a couch somewhere and talk to somebody, a professional, because it is, and second of all, not only is it heart-wrenching to see the work that people are doing, including, you know, it's really amazing. So I think that I would like this subject re-examined by the Transformation Society, and if there's any question about need, I would like that committee to go visit the Board of Disabilities. And trust me, it will move everybody who has a heart. So that services all of Jasper County, including Hardeeville. The other thing, Mr. Zimbor, not for the June 1st, but June 18th, is the council all going to be at the second, or that would be the 15th, second meeting in June? Everybody going to be there? We had an executive session today. We have more to discuss. We'd like, I'd suggest 2 hours before that meeting that we have the same topics we didn't even get to see. So we'd like to continue that conversation on June 15th. Okay?
B and C or C?
B and C. We did A. We want to continue with B and C. Also, what I suggest for the June 1st meeting, you have a presentation on the annexation policy that was sent to us by Jasper County. That document you handed me right before the meeting. So I haven't read it. You handed it to me. I'm sure the council isn't aware of it. So perhaps a presentation on what the county has passed and what their recommendation to the city is, so that everybody's aware of it, including the public. Okay. That's all I have. Wait, is he making fun of me? God. The minute I turn my back. So, Mr. Carroll,
Yes, sir.
would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir. I'll make that motion that we adjourn
Thank you.
before you have something else that you don't have.
I was fast tonight. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.